Hi, and welcome to episode 32 of the Dittmer Knittery podcast. Whether you are a returning viewer or a new viewer, I'm really glad to have you here. Thank you for joining me today. I'm going to get started right into the subject. I'm going to talk about my opinion of some what I call commercial yarns, those most readily available, commercially manufactured yarns that most of us here in the U.S. can get ready access to. I hope it doesn't run too long, but I've given this a lot of thought and I've made a lot of notes, way too much to try to share all of that with you. So I have tried to pare it down a little bit, but I have some things to say about commercial yarn. I have hesitated to talk about this because I'm going to need to say some not so positive things. I want to make clear that I'm voicing only my own opinion, and my opinion is based on experience, but I don't speak for anyone else. I speak for what I've learned from experience, and I hope it might be of some value to you. I have a really hard time believing that commercial yarn manufacturers and chain stores have much interest in providing a quality product that's suited to the wants and needs of knitters and crocheters. I believe that the commercial yarn manufacturers and the big chain stores that sell us the yarn are interested in marketing something we will buy, not necessarily making something we want, but marketing something we will buy. They want our money. A lot of the time it works very well and we buy the yarn. Joann's, Michael's, Hobby Lobby, Walmart, Patton's Yarn, Karen, Red Heart, Lion Brand Yarns, many more we could think of and name here. I don't have to mention all of them for you to know what I mean. I am going to discuss a few specific examples. I'll start with Hobby Lobby. I think if Hobby Lobby can sell this ball of yarn to me for 62 cents on some days, they could sell it to me for 62 cents every day. This is such a drastic discount. I believe their profit continues to be astronomical. The clearance sales are a gimmick to make us think we're getting a bargain. I have to reach the conclusion that someone in the supply line is not sharing in the profits. That makes me want to seek other yarn sources. And that's just one important issue. The fact that retailers can discount things this drastically, and they do it predictably. It's part of their marketing plan. Concerns me that all those involved in getting this into my hands may not be compensated for whatever they do to get it to me. The next example I have is Patton's yarn. And you know, this is a yarn I use. This is a good product. It is a good wool yarn. It is wool, it felts, it does what it says it will do. However, until recently, this skein was 220 yards. And now, it's 194 yards. It's still 100 grams. It's still 3.5 ounces. But now, it's 194 yards, not 220 yards. And I hope I can find a ball band to show this to you, but I don't think I have to prove that it used to be 220 yards. We know that. We know that the Pattons used to be, and it hasn't been that long ago. And I, in fact, have been showing you this these balls of yarn and telling you that they have 220 yards in them because I thought they did. And so I apologize for that. So I want to know what happened to the 26 yards. Something happened. With a skein of 220 yards, I can do all the main color of a hat. The hats that I make usually are 2 colors, a main color and a stripe. And with a 220 yard skein, I can knit the entire main color of a hat. With a 220 yard skein, I can get 3 stripes out of that skein. But when the skein is 194 yards, I have to start a new skein to finish a hat, the main color of a hat. And I can't get 3 stripes out of 194 yard skeins. So I didn't like that happened. And now I'm going to talk about yarns that are marketed as 100% wool, but they're not 100% wool, or they are wool that has been treated to be superwash wool. And for me, if it's superwash, it's not wool anymore, because wool performs a certain way. It shrinks, it felts. Wool has certain characteristics that workers with wool expect those characteristics to exist because they exist in all wool. So if the yarn purported to be wool does not perform as wool, it doesn't seem to me that it is wool. I have, like I said, I do purchase these commercial yarns and use them because they're reliably wool and they're reliably feltable. But recently, I have ventured out and purchased some brands I'm not familiar with, and I had 1 good surprise, got some nice yarn, and 2 disappointments. So for a bit of positivity here in this video, I'm going to show you some yarn I got that I thought was superwash, and it turned out to be as marketed, as advertised, as labeled. It is 100% wool. And that is this. I think I've shown this before. Cloudborn Highland DK. And I have 2 nice colors of this. And when I got it and I touched it, I thought, this is superwash, and I'm not happy. And so I called Cloudborn, and I got a person to talk to. And I didn't do a very good job of explaining what was going on, and I just kind of rattled off, oh, I got this yarn, and I know it's not wool, I know it's not going to felt, and I don't know why you would market this yarn as wool when it's obviously not, and what are you going to do about it? And I wasn't rude to him, but I did just rattle off that I was just sure this yarn was not 100% wool. And he was very polite and professional, and he asked me to read the label to him, and I did. And he said, well, that yarn is in fact 100% wool. We have yarns that are not 100% wool, but the yarn you have is, and it will felt. And so I apologized for kind of giving him a rapid fire introduction to my problem, and I thanked him. And I made a swatch, and I felted it. Now, I don't remember what I did with that swatch, but it felted. I can tell you. This yarn will felt. And this is, like I said, this is a nice DK Cloudborn yarn. And I would buy it again. Very nice. I have 2 yarns marketed as 100% wool that didn't felt. Again, in my experience, according to science and years of evidence, any natural wool will felt. If it doesn't felt, it's not natural wool, it's something else. And yes, this is a sore point for me because as a fiber artist, I need to invest in materials that perform as expected, or I've wasted my time and my money. My time and my money. Real wool commands and gets a premium price. The Patton's classic wool retails for usually between $7 and $8 is retail, and you can often get it on sale. But it's wool, and it costs more. I expect it to cost more. So through the years, that's been some of my hesitation of branching out to buy some of these less expensive things marketed as wool, because I was concerned that they might not be wool. I don't like to be unkind even to anonymous yarn companies, but this hits me where I live. First, Hobbii, H-O-B-B-I, and I apologize if I'm not pronouncing it correctly, but I've heard Hobbii, and that's what I'm going to use. I purchased some lovely yarn. I was so excited to find these yarns that I believed were 100% wool and feltable. I have one more. I think this was the one I liked the best. So beautiful. That would make the most lovely felted bag. So I ordered 2 of each colorway, so I have 6 skeins. And when I handled it, I thought, wow, I don't think that's wool. And so I actually made a swatch and attempted to felt it. And this is the result. No felting whatsoever. No change in the yarn whatsoever. After a good 20 or 30 minutes of felting, and you've seen me felt, you know what happens in the felting pot. You know what happens in my felting pot. Wool felts. This is not wool. This is perhaps wool that's been treated. Again, I mean no offense, but it is not what it's marketed to be. And I bought this from Hobbii, so I contacted them. And what I said in my email is that I thought that their product was mislabeled. I tried to be polite and diplomatic. I said it should be labeled superwash in order for it to be accurately labeled for consumers who would be purchasing the product and have expectations. So a customer service rep responded after quite a while, after several weeks. I think it was 3 weeks. I did get a couple of emails saying, we haven't forgotten about you, we will be in touch. And then I did get a customer service representative to email me, and we exchanged several emails, and she remained steadfast that this product is 100% virgin wool. Now, virgin would imply to me that it is completely untampered with, that it has not been treated in any way to change its performance from its originality, from the original way it was made, that it should be wool and it should felt. So we went back and forth a few times, and she was completely steadfast that it was 100% wool. And in her final email to me, this is what she said, and I'm going to quote, "I can assure you that our dream color is 100% virgin wool. We can't promise that it will felt. Furthermore, we have no mentioning of this yarn being used in felting projects on our website. Sadly, this yarn is not designed to do that." And although she mentioned that they do have feltable yarns, and she provided a link to their feltable yarns, at no time did she offer an exchange or a refund or any solution to the dilemma that I had purchased 6 skeins of yarn that won't felt, that may be unusable in my art. So, you know, they're perfectly fine to use for something else, but I wanted them to make felted bags. Now, I think I am going to try pairing this, holding this with a strand of another yarn and see what happens, because this next yarn that I'm going to discuss, I did that and I got an interesting effect. I showed you this hat that I knit with one strand of Knit Picks palette yarn and one strand of Apache Light. And you can see all these little bumps. That is unfelted yarn. So the Knit Picks yarn felted, but the Apache Light did not. And it created an interesting effect. But you can see even here, like around the brim, there's pieces of stitches hanging off of there because they're not felted. Now, this is a beautiful hat, and I really like the overall effect. But the fact is, the yarn didn't do what it's supposed to do. And because I bought this from a third party, I did not buy this from Hirschner. I don't feel like I can complain. So, except for to you, of course. So this is the yarn, and I do have 3 colorways of it. This is the one I used in the hat. And they don't have, although on the website when I bought them, the colorways had names. The labels do not have colorway names. They have numbers. And so I can tell because I can tell which color is which because they have this matching number, but they don't have any color name. So that was one colorway. This is another. And then the third one. And I was so taken by this that I ordered 6 of each colorway. So I had 18 skeins. And I've used about a skein and a half. I don't remember. A little over a skein, I believe, to make the hat. I don't recall. Might have been closer to 2. Anyway, I have more than 16 skeins left. And that's a lot of yarn to have to hold with another yarn and expect it to not felt. Anyway, wish that hadn't happened. So that's a lot of unfeltable yarn. And like I said, I'm going to try some experimenting and see if I can make use of it, because in a way, this just pushes my creativity. In a way, it just makes me try to figure out something to do with it, something creative to do with it, and I hope that's what I'll be able to do. But the point of this video is that I just haven't felt comfortable for some time continuing to support the commercial yarn industry, and I have supported it pretty well. I have a great deal of yarn, so if I don't buy for a while, I'm not going to suffer any kind of shortage. But I really think I am going to try to be more thoughtful about my yarn and fiber purchases in the future. And I don't want to make a big commitment because, you know, sure as I say, hey, I'll never buy another skein of pattern yarn, I'll get a commission and need a skein of pattern yarn. So I'm not going to say I'll never buy commercial yarn again. What I am saying is that I am going to try to be more thoughtful about my yarn and fiber purchases in the future. I think even at a discount, even at a deep discount, I don't feel comfortable buying those commercial yarns. You know, if I buy it at any point in the supply chain, I'm buying their yarn. And the only way to show that I don't like that yarn, I don't like their marketing techniques, is to stop buying it. And I know I'm only one person and it probably won't matter, but I'm sharing this with you. So I'm going to do some research, and meanwhile, try not to be tempted to buy commercial yarn. I really do appreciate you watching. If you stayed with me all this way, thank you so much. I hope if you like what you've seen, please hit that like button. If you haven't already done so, give me a thumbs up. I hope that you will subscribe and come back and see some more videos soon in the future. So, please take care of yourselves and take care of each other. Peace, love, and I will see you soon.